3, hit it!
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to today's Caffeine for the Soul. And today's topic is inspired by guinea pig B. And I remember reading a story about guinea pig B. So if you think in a lab that the guinea pigs, well, guinea pig A, guinea pig B, guinea pig C. I guess they don't want to name the guinea pigs because then they fall in love with them and don't want to do experiments. Anyways, this was from a long time ago. So guinea pig B turned out to be what the inventor, innovator, author, designer, activist Buckminster Fuller called himself. And the reason that he called himself that, and if you haven't read about Buckminster Fuller, probably the most famous thing he did was create the geodesic dome. But he did so much. It's worth just looking him up. Google him. He's an impressive guy. But guinea pig B was one of the ways he referred to himself, and it came from, apparently, an experience that he had as a young man where he was a bit of a wild child, and he drank too much, and to the point where his wife got ill, and he was so drunk they couldn't get him home in time to see her, and he wound up losing both, if I'm remembering correctly, his wife and a young child, because he was too drunk to help. And he was so distraught at this that he went to drown himself in the ocean. And when he was walking into the ocean, ready to die, he heard a voice. And the voice said, "Your life is not yours to give." And he realized in that moment that he had become so self-obsessed, so obsessed with his life, that he'd lost sight of what was possible. And he decided that from that moment forward, he would live his life as an experiment in what one person could do for the betterment of humanity. And so I don't know how much of this is on his wiki page, but if you look at the incredible body of the work, I think he died with 65 patents, all coming from that experiment in seeing what one person could do to make a difference to the well-being of humanity. And when I was thinking about that, it reminded me of one of my early mentors, Dr. George Pransky, and he would talk about how it's very helpful to take a sort of an anthropologist's view of yourself and to sort of be able to kind of rise up above yourself and take the 100-foot view or even the 1,000-foot view of your life and just sort of observe your behavior and see what you start to see about how you work. And that took me to one of my favorite things I ever learned in NLP, which was my old field, from Robert Dilts. And Robert Dilts used to talk about a very helpful way to learn about how we work is to pretend that you're an alien, and his alien was named Nurk Nurk, and that you're an alien and you come down to observe these humans and to let Nurk Nurk kind of do it. And what does Nurk Nurk need to know in order to be able to do the things that we do, like feel feelings and take action and set goals and love one another. And it was always a really fun way to play with life, to observe life, not to judge it or fix it, but genuinely to understand at a deeper level how it works. And I was talking with a friend about this, and they were like, yeah, it's like all the apps on my phone that I have never tried. And I was like, what do you mean? I've got like 100 apps on my phone, and I think I've tried like 20 of them. And every now and again, I'll look at one and go, I wonder what this does. And I'll open it, and it's kind of like really fun to see, oh my gosh, I didn't know my phone could do that. I didn't know my phone could do that. It sort of reminded me of a story about my mother-in-law that she married a farmer and learned to drive on a tractor. And it was a big deal when they got their first real car. And, she drove it around for a couple of days. And then she said to her husband, we can give this back. It really just stick to the tractor. And he's like, no, what do you mean? And so he went for a drive with her because he didn't understand why she wasn't having more fun with the car. And at a certain point he said, well, why don't you take it out of first gear? And she said, what do you mean? And she hadn't realized that cars had gears because the tractor didn't. Forward, back. And so there was this whole aspect of what the car could do that she had no idea about. She didn't even know to experiment with it because she didn't know it was there. Same with apps on the phone. There's all sorts of apps on my phone. I checked it after that. I'm like, yeah, me too. I have a bunch of apps. I don't know what they do. Your phone can probably do all sorts of things you don't even know it can do. Your car may be able to do all sorts of things you don't know it can do. And I promise you, you can do all sorts of things that you don't even know you can do. And so what I want to recommend is, instead of looking for answers, looking to somebody like me or whoever else to tell you what's possible, as if we are the manual for living, experiment with the equipment on your own. See what else thought can do for you. See what else you can do with awareness and attention. See what else you can do with this incredible living intelligence at the heart of who we are. If you want to know what it's like to be quiet, don't read a book about it. See what it's like to be quiet. If you want to know what it would be like to live without fear, don't read about it. Experiment with what it would be like to live without fear. And if you take that kind of experimental approach to life, whether as extreme as guinea pig B, as casually as playing with the apps on your phone, or somewhere in between, not only will you have a hell of a lot of fun, but you're going to find yourself capable of things that in reality all humans are capable of. But most of us go from cradle to grave without ever finding out. And the next time you find an app on your phone and you go, I wonder what this does, don't look it up. Find out for yourself. Have fun, learn heaps, happy experimenting, and I'll talk with you soon.